for the man who fathered this coach, for he was Bill Lever's first coach, and for the strength he gave him, we give thanks. And finally, to these boys, for on this day in which we honor them, it is they who have brought honor to us, their school, and themselves. For all of this, we give thanks. I'd like to just make a few introductions of the people at the head table. They will have a speaking role later on in the banquet. Mrs. Donna Cote, Chairperson of the Mendon Upland Regional School Committee. Mr. Paul Daigle, Director of Education. Dr. David Crisafulli, Superintendent of Schools. Mr. Jim Grant, Athletic Director. Mr. Bill McGinnis, JV Coach. Mr. Butch Sala, Assistant Coach. Mr. Bill Lever, Head Coach. My name is Joe Cummings, and I'm the Master of Ceremonies. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Michael Burns. Michael had a national team commitment this morning. Hopefully he's on his way here this afternoon, but he did have a commitment this morning. I'd like to begin just by reading a few letters to you, which capture for us, the audience, and the players, exactly the level of achievement. Dear Bill, congratulations to you and your team, closely scrutinized. It is certainly a pleasure to see a team win that is well coached, well behaved, and reflective of the value of interscholastic competition. Teamwork and focusing on the task can be individually skilled players and take advantage of less focused, ego-oriented opponents. Please thank your players for representing the Dual Valley Conferences so well and for reinforcing the value of believing in yourself and working as a team. William Mahoney, formerly the principal at Douglas Middle School and Douglas High School. Dear Mr. Lever, I was so pleased to read of the Nipmuc Regional High School boys soccer team winning the state championship and wanted to extend to the team members, to you and to your assistants, my sincerest congratulations. All of you are to be commended for this notable achievement. The parents and relatives of these youngsters and all other school officials must be very proud of their accomplishments. Would you please present to the team members, on my behalf, the enclosed official citation from the Massachusetts Senate in further recognition of this important victory. Again, congratulations to all. Louis P. Bertnassi, State Senator. Dear Coach Lever, I write to extend my congratulations to you and all members of the boys soccer team on an outstanding season and on winning the State Division III championship. The members of the team have worked together to attain this goal and all deserve much credit and recognition. They have provided many hours of excitement to their family, friends, and fans, and they have brought much adulation to Nipmuc Regional High School. Your team has worked long and hard to achieve this goal, and it is certainly a fitting tribute to the hard work and long hours of practice by all members of the team. And I wish them much continued success and achievement. Sincerely, Richard E. Neal, Member of Congress. On the tables, you had the championship banquet format for today. The luncheon is scheduled to begin in approximately 1 hour. We will begin the awards portion of the banquet. Thank you very much and enjoy the meal. Usually involves a keynote speaker. We are very fortunate in that here in Massachusetts we are able to reach the pinnacle in trying to secure a keynote speaker. All of the boys have been through a tryout procedure. They've all wondered if they're going to make a team. They've all wondered if they're going to play. And they've all wondered what their contribution may or may not be. Our keynote speaker has wondered that on more than one occasion. The only difference is that each time he's wondered, he's reached a level that only we can imagine and dream about. In the history of the men's soccer program in the United States of America, there is only one player in the history of the men's program that has played at every single possible national level and in every single possible national competition. Under 16 boys, under 20 boys, the Olympics, the Pan American Games, and the World Cup. You can check any roster at any time for as long as the United States has played competitive soccer. And the only player to have accomplished that at all those levels is our keynote speaker. An All-American from Hartwood, the captain of the United States Olympic team, a member of the United States World Cup team, born and raised in Marlborough, Massachusetts, Michael Burns.
Most people don't know this about me, but one of my biggest disappointments as a player was never winning a state championship at Marlborough High, and I truly mean that. So I stand up here today extremely envious of each of you players in here because it's a tremendous accomplishment to win a state championship, something that can never be taken away from you, something you remember for the rest of your lives. So I want to congratulate each and every player in here. I think all this goes to get some credit, but give most of it. I get most of it. It's an honor and privilege for me to be able to share with you some of my soccer experiences. I can still remember sitting in the library my sophomore year in high school, explaining to a couple of my friends the Olympic development program process, because it was my first time trying out. First the district team, then the state team, the regional team, and finally the under-16 national team. I can remember, just like it was yesterday, one of my closest friends, still to this day, saying to me, "It would be incredible if you made the under-16 national team." And I said, yeah, but kind of shrugged it off because I had yet to even try out for the district team. Not because I didn't have enough confidence in my own ability, but I had no idea what else was out there in terms of talent. However, that was the first time I can remember thinking to myself, why can't I make the under-16 national team? It was the first time I realized I was setting a goal for myself. I didn't end up taking the most direct route and making the under-16 national team. As it turned out, I made the district team and state team, but didn't make the regional team. However, 4 years previous, I attended the Umbro soccer camp in South Carolina, and the director of the camp was a man named Roy Reese, who just happened to be appointed the next under-16 national team coach. I guess I made a good impression on him at the camp because when he was selecting his team, he called my state team coach and asked why didn't Mike Burns make the regional team. To make a long story short, he didn't care that I didn't make the regional team. He felt I was good enough to make the under-16 national team and called me in for a special tryout. From that point on, I have been involved with the national team program for the last 10 years. I believe there are two very important points to that story. First, no matter how old you are, and whether you're playing in an organized league, camp, or just playing in a pickup game with friends, you must constantly strive to be the best you can be because you never know who's watching and when you might get a chance like I got. For example, at the end of every trip I went on with the Olympic team, my coach, Lothar Otienda, would always say to each of us that when we went home to play for our club teams and colleges, to make sure each of us was the best player on our team. This was to prove to everyone that each of us deserved to be on the Olympic team. One of the reasons he did that was because once you achieve success at a high level, there are always going to be people who will try to knock you down and say that you're really not that good and you don't deserve to be on the team. In my experience, 9 out of 10 times, the person saying those things is jealous. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't accomplish something. I don't care if you're trying to make an Olympic team, college team, or high school team. Once you set a goal, don't accept anything but the best for yourself. It's very important for everyone here to set goals and strive to achieve them. It doesn't matter what it is, but pick something and try to be the very best you can be at it. In addition to setting goals for yourself, you must be willing to fight through the setbacks and difficult times. Believe me, over the past 10 years, although most of my experience has been very positive, there have also been some very tough times. If I had decided to quit or give up after I didn't make the regional team 10 years ago, who knows how things would have turned out for me. Another example is, after my freshman year in high school, I tried out for the Bay State Games and got cut. I was pretty disappointed because I felt I should have made the team. However, the next year I tried out again, made the team, started, and went on to win the gold medal. Today, as we look back and laugh at that story, we shrug it off and say obviously the coach had no idea what we were talking about. Perhaps my most difficult time occurred during the World Cup. After playing in every exhibition game in 1994 and being fourth in minutes played on the team, I'd obviously hoped to play at the World Cup. However, when it began and I wasn't in the starting lineup, I was mad and very disappointed. For the first time in my life, I had to deal with sitting on the bench. And what a time for it to happen during the biggest sporting event in the world. The point I'm trying to make is that I believe some adversity not only will make you a better player, but more importantly in the long run make you a better person. Going back, after the Under-16 World Cup in Canada in 1987, the next step was the Under-20 national team. And I remember Roy Reed telling our team that probably only one or two guys from our team would make the jump from the Under-16 to the Under-20s. I'm sure most of the guys felt they had a chance, but I was determined to make it. As it turned out, myself and only two others made the team. That was pretty much the same scenario going from the Under-20 team to the Pan American team to the Olympic team and finally onto the World Cup team. The way things worked out, I was the only player from my Under-16 team to make the World Cup team. Something I'm very proud of is the fact that I'm the only player who's been able to play for the national team at every level. I consider myself to be an intense and very driven person, and each time I tried out, I looked at it as a personal challenge for me to make. Speaking of setting goals and having the drive to achieve them, it should be noted that the real drive must come from within you. It can't come from your parents, teachers, or a coach. Sure, they can help, but in order to constantly strive to be the best, it must come from you. I have played with players over the years who have been very talented, but just didn't care enough to want to succeed at the highest level possible. And I believe that kind of attitude carries over everyday life. You want to accept mediocrity. My college coach, Jim Lennox, who I have a great deal of respect for, used to tell the players at the end of every game to ask yourself one question. Did I have an impact on the game to help make my team better? Just to let you know, I didn't disagree with too much Jim had to say. I used to, and still do today, at the end of each game, ask myself, was I the best player on the field today? And if the answer is no, then that's not acceptable to me. The reason to constantly strive to be the best is for perfection. Even though I don't know anyone who's ever played the perfect game, that's the reason to play. To try and achieve the unattainable. It's impossible to play an absolute perfect game, but for me it's always fun trying. Over the past 10 years, soccer has provided me with experience and memories I never could have imagined. I have had the opportunity to play all over the world with and against some great players. I feel extremely fortunate to have seen more of the world at age 24 than most people see in a lifetime. For all the traveling I've done, still the most vivid memories are the people I've met, friendships I've made, and the games I've played in. I've played in front of over 90,000 people, but the crowd has been so loud and hostile, it's been virtually impossible to hear teammates screaming at me 5 yards away. For as difficult as that may sound, those were the best games I've played in. It didn't matter how many people in the stands or what the atmosphere was like, because I was so into the game that nothing else mattered. People always ask me, but to be honest with you, sometimes I only realize how many were there during the national anthem and after the final whistle had sounded. Again, it may be difficult to understand for a lot of you, but it's an unbelievable feeling to play in front of that many people, be so engulfed in something, and at the same time be totally oblivious to everything else going on. Throughout my career, I've had a wide spectrum of experience with players and coaches. I've played with good and bad players, and I've been coached by good and not so good coaches. Jim Lennox once said to me, no matter how good or bad things get, only carry forward with you the positive. It's all right to remember the bad times, because in the long run it will make you stronger. However, try and take only what you think is good from each coach and athletic experience you have with you to the next team you play for. Not only will it make each of you a better player, it will make the next team you play for a better team. That's one thing I've always tried to do on every team I've played for. I think it's a valuable piece of advice worth your goals for yourself and striving to achieve them, to be the best you can be at something. However, that does not mean pick one thing and forget about everything else in your life. Something I haven't even touched upon this afternoon is education, and I feel this is of the utmost importance. Even though I missed a lot of high school and college due to traveling with youth national teams, Olympic team, and the Olympic team, I was still able to graduate from Harvard College in December of 1992. This is something I am extremely proud of. I am only one of 4 players from my Olympic team and one of 2 from the World Cup team with a college degree. 6 out of 44 players, in my opinion, is not a good enough percentage. I think it should be known that school never came easy to me. Just like on the soccer field, I had to work extremely hard for what I got in the classroom. I am proud to say that if, God forbid, I got a career-ending injury tomorrow, I would have a college degree to fall back on. One I'd like to end on that it doesn't matter what you choose to do with your life. However, your education should never suffer as a result of it. It is up to you to determine what is important in your life and what isn't. Having said that, I hope some of the things I've said this afternoon make some sense and be helpful to each of you in the future. Thanks very much.
Although we are here to honor the boys this afternoon, Michael would be more than willing after the banquet to sign autographs or for photographs if you are interested in that. And secondly is, over the course of the past couple of weeks, Michael's been through some negotiations for placement on foreign teams in preparation for competition this coming summer. He left last weekend for Mexico to play in the second division team in Mexico. Transfers from the United States Soccer Federation to foreign competitions are sometimes very difficult. It was not accomplished, and he had to return in the middle of the week, and negotiations for another club are underway right now. When I met with him this week, I fully expected that his disappointment would be so evident that he might take the opportunity to perhaps beg off on his commitment. And nothing was further from the truth. The very first thing he said to me when we sat down was, "What time is the banquet on Saturday?" So he's here not because he has to be, he's here because he wanted to be. As I was putting the banquet program together, I handed to each one of the people at the head table a script. It's the same one that you have at your table, except down the right-hand side, I put minutes, allotments. Mike's speech was supposed to be from 3:30 to 3:40. Thank you, Michael. I've given each one of the people at the head table a copy of the script so that they know exactly how much time they have. Because the end of this is Coach Lieber, and whatever time we don't take, he's going to anyway. So, first of all, I would like to introduce Mrs. Donna Cote, the chairperson of the Mendon Upton Regional School Committee.
Players, coaches, distinguished guests, parents, teachers, and friends. Dr. Crisafulli has a prepared statement or message which extends the sentiments of the school committee, but I just couldn't pass up, besides the fact that I'm on the list here and have 2 minutes, an opportunity. I couldn't pass up an opportunity to extend my own personal congratulations to our state champions, as well as congratulations to Coach Lieber and his support staff, Mr. McGinnis and Coach Sala, and to the parents, who must be extremely proud. I'd like to thank them not only for their very talented sons, but for their support that they have given them. So, I don't have a lot left of my 2 minutes, but I just want to say, congratulations, state champions.
I've had the good fortune to work for some very unique administrators. As a teacher, you very quickly form an opinion when you meet an administrator. It can be based on an offhand conversation. It can be based on something that is steeped in philosophy. I've had only a small number of opportunities to meet Mr. Daigle, but I must in all honesty say that my first impressions have been supported in conversations with many other people. I've been impressed by his support of all of the programs at Nipmuc Regional High School. And I was most impressed by the story that Jim Grant spoke about at the awards banquet in the fall, in which he arrived at Nipmuc on a Sunday morning after the championship. And there was Mr. Daigle putting clippings up, so when the players and the members of the classes arrived on Monday, they would see with great pride what has been accomplished. You need to understand that in this field of education, sometimes it's unique to see that level of dedication from administrators and teachers. I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Paul Daigle, the Director of Education.
Thank you for those kind words. Gentlemen, obviously, congratulations. Well done and an excellent job. I think this is my first season, as you know, as the Director of Education Principal at the Regional High School. And it's been an incredible season for me. a dream team in a new school. How could anyone possibly ask for more in the first few months of their term and their tenure in the Mendon Upton Regional School District? These young men and this team delivered to the communities of Mendon and Upton something that is truly rare and truly unique. A state championship forged in the backs of obviously real hard work and determination on the part of all these young men. This team did indeed, in my opinion, grasp the concept of moral energy and a high level of integrity. Knowing these young men and seeing them in the corridors of the high school and on the playing field should be a joy for the parents and a joy for the teachers, and certainly a joy for me as an administrator to see them. I've always said that I owe most of what I do and what I am to my children. I might have been a very different person if I hadn't seen my children watching me daily through my tasks in the house and in my personal life. I really feel that everything I am, I owe to my children, because they watched me. And knowing that they were watching me, I performed a certain way. Raising children certainly is a mutual learning experience. The first part of their lives, when they're real young, as you know, as parents, we certainly have a great deal of input. We input everything they do and everything they say. As children, they imitate us. But as they get older, I really we can begin to imitate them and learn from them. So I'm saying to all of you parents, we need to learn from the young men that are in front of me. Each child in this room can certainly teach us something. The team that's in front of me has taught me something. It's taught me very clearly, hopefully it's taught all of you, to never give up and always say, as this team has, I can. And they have done that. I also have a certificate from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to be presented to the coach. It's an official citation to the Massachusetts Senate. Hereby extends congratulations to the Nipmuc Regional High School boys soccer team and Coach Lieber in recognition of their great victory in becoming state champions. Signed and authored by Louis P. Bertinazzi. Coach Lieber.
Continuing in the administrative hierarchy, you are also very fortunate to have a superintendent of schools who immerses himself in every single aspect of education at Nipmuc Regional High School. And believe me when I tell you, that is very unique. To have a superintendent who is there at athletic contests, to have a superintendent that is there during academic pursuits, to have a superintendent that is so involved in each and every one of you. There is a level of coaching expertise. You need to know that with Dr. Crisafulli. He spent some time as a coach and understands the process of learning and understands winning and losing. And he carries those philosophies with him in all that he does. The Superintendent of Schools, Dr. David Crisafulli.
This dream began a long time ago, and I just want to say one thing before I start. And you have to understand what the next level is. I talk to Jimmy about that sometimes, and I think Joe understands that. And the next level began many years ago, probably about 8 years ago when you came to school to teach with us. And during that training for me, because I was involved with football and never really had seen much soccer until I came to be in the Mendon Upton Regional School District. And my training began by going to a state championship game to see Michael Clark. And he doesn't know that, but I do. Because Bill Lieber, I can remember the miserable cold day, and said, you got a kid, maybe play during this time of year, and those guys are out there in shots. And so I was able to see Michael play, I think in the senior year, I think it was Wachusett. And Michael demonstrated what the next level was. And so Michael, I hope for the time that you've given us today, but for your dreams and your wishes that you continue. And I think these boys here today showed us this year
what the next level was in some exceptional things. But thank you for showing me what the next level was. Coach Lieber coming aboard when we were hoping one day would be what we are today, this dream. As Mrs. Cody said, I kind of had arranged something on her behalf and myself, and also the Mendon School Committee. I've written just a very little one-minute saying. I'd like to welcome all the students, athletes, school committee members, parents, and guests. Striving for excellence is a mindset. Today we have a group of students, coaches, supportive parents, and community members who have seen our soccer program reach a new level, a state championship. This victory occurred because of a tremendous amount of sacrifice and commitment. The district philosophy of developing well-rounded students who are can-do people is our goal. Your success and achievement exemplifies our philosophy, and furthermore, you have helped us to reach a new height. Your actions on the soccer field and your academic success are the fulfillment of a dream. Maybe, Michael, this is your dream. It is interesting to note that over 50% of this team's student athletes are in the National Honor Society. Let this state championship be a building block for you to apply the same determination to whatever you choose to do in athletics, in the classroom, or in life. Remember, we had special people. Coach Lieber, the staff, the parents, teachers, members of the Mendon Upton Community Soccer Program, and most of all, loyal fans who took great pride in your accomplishments. Congratulations. We are very, very proud of you.
It's part of the nature. It means that what you're doing is you're tipping your hat. You're letting them know that you think that they do a good job. I'm going to deviate for a minute and tell you that the next gentleman is someone that I have a great deal of admiration for. Not because of his successes just on the field of play, but also because of what he does at Gilman Regional High School. Balancing an academic load, athletic director, and then year in and year out, preparing athletes and putting forth championship teams. A product of the system and someone who continues to believe in Nipmuc Regional High School and all that is good about it. Your athletic director, and again, someone for which I have great admiration, Mr. Jim Grant.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'd like to first of all state that this banquet could not have been put together in such style without Joe coming. A while ago, Joe and I were meeting in my office, and I asked him that he would sit down with me, and along with Bill, share some ideas on how to honor these young people, how to make it just a little bit more special than anything else we've ever done. I knew that the amount of time that had to be put into it, I would not, as your athletic director, to be able to do an adequate job, not to give it the justice that it needed. I knew that Joe, in helping me, would be able to do something better than. And because we have done something as a team and the coaching staff better than, we wanted to make it the best. Joe has done this for us. The amount of time and effort that he has put into this event and orchestrated the choreography of what has taken place is beyond what I thought would be done. I don't say this because I also have a great deal of admiration for Joe. I also say this because as your AD, as a coach, as a parent, I'm going to be able to come away from something that I will never forget. I also would like to thank any members of the Warriors Club that are here and also that are not here. we all should know that their support throughout the year, especially in this event, is most evident in many of the awards that are being given out. And to you parents and friends and sponsors, my thanks from your athletic department. Today, this afternoon, is Coach Lever, his staff, and all these young men's afternoon. Congratulations to Coach, to his staff, to all of you team members for such an accomplishment. I say it over and over, state champions. As a coach, as an athlete, you always want to be remembered for something special. Something that no one else has done or could do. You dream of conference, district championships, and wonder about, could a small school, Nipmuc, Mendon and Upton, ever be a state champion? It's taken 34 years. I'm not sure any of us really understand or appreciate what these young men have accomplished this fall of 1994. I'm not sure it's going to set in for a while. Out of all of the Division III schools in the state of Massachusetts, we are number one. And we stand alone in that position. As your athletic director, and believe me, devoted fan, I thank you, Coach Lever, your players, for a brief moment in time that was yours and shared with us in this fall of 1994. You know, my job allows me the luxury of watching most of the games. I feel very lucky. Lucky as a coach, lucky as your AD, lucky as a teacher, lucky as a parent. Many of you parents, because of your job commitments, cannot see these people. I've enjoyed watching my children play sports over the years, sharing their highs and certainly sharing their lows, because sports is like that. One moment you're up and the next moment you're down. You don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. Somewhere there has to be a happy medium. This fall has given me great pleasure watching my two sons participate in one of Central Mass's most respected soccer programs. And to play for a coach and a man, Bill Lever, that I have great admiration for. I would be remiss if I didn't say this. It has been so special. Kind of wrapping up, since we only have 4 minutes, and believe me, this is Coach Lever's time. I can't help but think of a card I received from my two boys not long ago on Father's Day. Meant a great deal to me then and will always. Simply read, "You always encouraged me to do my best, to play fair, and to go after whatever I want." So often, I remember this advice and think of you with love whenever I do. Thanks for teaching me what truly makes a winner. Well, thanks, Bill. Thanks, team. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Kevin, for this fall of 1994. Because right now, we all feel like winners.
Next speaker, we've had to reprogram a little bit. Came to the junior varsity team and he knew football, and he knew basketball, and he knew baseball. But what is very exciting about this next speaker is the enthusiasm that I saw for soccer. Those of us that are soccer coaches have a tendency to be very passionate about our sport, and we make no apologies for that. And when we can recruit, when we can have an ambassador join us, we like to do that. Bill McGinnis has started this process on a road that what I hope will become one of being a soccer fan and being a soccer coach for all of us in future years. The junior varsity coach, Bill McGinnis.
I think if I take my 2 minutes, that will pretty much sum up my knowledge of the game. But I was very fortunate at the end of my season to be asked by Coach Lieber, and I have to thank him for that, because he told me to come on with him, be with the guys. And really, my role as a coach at the varsity level was more of an observer. And like when I was listening to you speak, I could compare a lot of things as a player. And you talked about being envious. Well, you would be envious because of the way these young men play. And I think the one word that I can compare from your speech with the way they played and the way they acted is intent. And every day in practice, whether the coach was at a faculty meeting, if he was late, the intent was on their faces. The intent was on their faces before every game. And that's why, in my opinion, I think they're state champions. If you take one thing from Mike and his speech today, gentlemen, let it sink in. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life. And those lessons that you learned this year, you're going to take with you off the field. And that's why you're going to be successful on the field and off the field. Thank you very much.
Coach Sala is known for a number of responsibilities, but some of the parents may not realize that he actually is the protector of Coach Lieber. On occasion, there are fans that like to come over to the Nipmuc bench. Bill doesn't like any help coaching. And so during one of the games this fall, he had to turn to Butch and actually make sure that if this fan got any closer, that Mr. Sala decided to rearrange his anatomy a little bit. So the fact that he does weightlifting and the fact that he does all those plyometrics is not so that the athletes are able to improve. It's so that Butch can beat the crap out of some fan on the show. The assistant coach, Butch Sala.
Listening to all these other speakers. Today, very, very special day. If I ramble on, please excuse me, but it does come from the bottom of my heart. It's not often that you get a son or a daughter playing a state championship team. Today, I'm doubly blessed in that not only do I have a son who played on the state championship team, but I've been part of a coaching program that I feel is one of the finest in the state of Massachusetts. I'll repeat that. One of the finest coaching programs in the state of Massachusetts. State championship teams just don't happen. It's vision. It's a vision of a coach. It's a plan. It's a design, it's a program, it's a process. Well, 4 years ago, some people may have said that I made a mistake. I said it was an opportunity. I came to an August practice. After practice, said to Coach Lieber, geez, these guys should do some weightlifting. He said, okay, big mouth, the job is yours. And we started with a set of dumbbells, a universal gym that worked sometimes, didn't work other times, a training room that anytime you bent over, you hit the player next to you. And after the boys being out on Friday night, coming in early Saturday morning wasn't always the most pleasurable experience. At the end of that first year, I didn't know what to expect. I said to Coach Lieber, you know, what do you think? He said, well, as long as I'm here at Nipmuc, you always have a job. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we've taken it beyond that. We've taken it because we've had vision in our school. We have an athletic director who saw the value of our system. somehow, some way commandeered an unused classroom that is now our weight and fitness room, probably one of the finest weight and fitness rooms in the state. We have an individual that's a director of education that is just such a pleasant surprise, one of the most enthusiastic supporters, a face that's there at every game. He's just a wonderful man to deal with, and Paul Nagel. We have a superintendent of schools, Dr. Christopher. He's been a major supporter of our program, a supporter of our strength and conditioning program. One of the questions I had about the new high school is whether or not we're going to have a weight room. And I saw the plans, and I thanked the school committee that there is a weight room there. So the vision goes from the top all the way down. I don't think I have ever been more proud to be associated with Bill Leaper and Bill McGinnis and everyone at Nipmuc Regional High School. But as I look out here as these players, with few exceptions, each and every one of them has played for me in one capacity or another. And many of them have played for me when they were 6 years old in instructional baseball, farm teams for Little League, and some of them even had to put up with me through my soccer learning career, and they played youth soccer with me. But I can say to you, to all your friends, your parents, grandparents, nieces, nephews, brothers and sisters, I have never been associated with a better group of young gentlemen than this past 1994 Nipmuc Boys State Championship. Thank you, and God bless you.
He is called coach. It is a difficult job, and there is no clear way to succeed in it. One cannot copy another who is a winner, but there seems to be some subtle, secret chemistry of personality that enables a person to lead successfully, and no one really knows what it is. Those who have succeeded and those who have failed represent all kinds. Young and old, inexperienced and experienced, hard and soft, tough and gentle, good-natured and foul-tempered, proud and profane, articulate and inarticulate, even dedicated and casual. Most are dedicated, some more than others, but dedication alone is not enough. Some are smarter than others, but intelligence is not enough. Losers almost always get fired, but winners get fired too. He is out in the open, being judged publicly almost every day or night for 6, 7, or 8 months a year by those who may or may not be qualified to judge him. Every victory and every defeat is recorded constantly in print or on the air and periodically totaled up. The coach has no place to hide. He cannot let the job go for a while or do a bad job and assume no one will take notice. He cannot satisfy everyone. Seldom can he even satisfy very many. Rarely can he even satisfy himself. If he wins once, he must win the next time too. They plot victories, suffer defeats, endure criticism from within and without. They neglect their families, travel endlessly, and live alone in the spotlight surrounded by others. Theirs may be the worst profession, unreasonably demanding, insecure, and full of unrelenting pressures. Why do they put up with it? Why do they do it? Having seen them hired and hailed as geniuses at gaudy party-like conferences, and having seen them fired with pat phrases such as fool or incompetent, I have wondered about them. Having seen them exultant in victory and depressed by defeat, I have sympathized with them. Having seen some broken by the job and others die from it, one is moved to admire them and to hope that someday the world will learn to understand them. That is the preface to a book by Bill Libby called The Coaches. In introducing Bill, there were so many words that I could choose, and I needed to combine adjectives. The first one was I chose to call him a good friend and a great coach, but that came up short. So I reversed it. And I said he was a great friend and a good coach, but that came up short. So I combined them. He is a great friend and a great coach.
Very much. Speechless. Well, not quite. Before I go into this, let me just first clarify a few things that Coach Sala forgot to mention. Coach Sala has never got a date this time. Maybe I shouldn't have told you. And he comes twice a week, just to do the weight training. And not only does he do weight training, but he also does plyometrics. And then occasionally he tells me what to do on the sidelines. It's not just shows up and does this. He puts in a lot of time, not only during the season, but off the season. And without his help, and without Coach McGinnis and all the other previous JV coaches, my job would simply been a lot tougher. So I really appreciate all of you. In this day and age, such movies as Rudy and the Mighty Ducks, I wish there was some mystical, magical ingredient that went into the season. It'd certainly be a better story if some fairy godmother or grand wizard was spelling us, transforming us into superheroes, or at the very least, a mean green fighting machine. But to be honest, nothing like that happened. All that we accomplished came through hard work. Every single day, from August 25th until November 19th. It was just as important as every other day. The amount of work that we put into preseason was just as important as the tournament season. This is the consistent manner in which we approach everything. Much like the calendar, we view every year as being 4 seasons. Preseason, first half of the season, second half of the season, postseason, or tournament. We also believe in 3 phases or parts that make up every player as well as every team. Fitness, skill work, and strategy. When you put the 2 groups together, you learn a secret, special plan. A plan that is so secretive that I've often shared it with many other coaches. We spend all preseason assessing the talent and seeing how the players can be used to get the maximum out of them for the good of the team. This may have a great factor in our scrimmage results. Example, last year we scrimmaged Medway. And if you watched that and you made an assessment on Nipmuc, you'd say that they're not going to win too many games. But we have a purpose. It's our first scrimmage, we have a goal, we have objectives what we wish to accomplish. And in the long run, we learn what we can do with players we have. Who might be able to play in different positions in case of anything. Anyone who knows me know that I always know in advance what to do if something should happen. We have to make sure that if we need plan B, we have a plan B. From then on, it's a matter of striving to be, as the Army would say, the best that we can be. That is it. That's all we do. The understated factor that determines every season of the players. I've been fortunate to have many good players, therefore my system has always been successful. I consider whether we win a championship or not successful. We go out there to compete, we go out there to make a statement about Denmark, we're successful. This year's team is not the best team that I've ever had in terms of skill-wise. As a matter of fact, next year's team, just to put pressure on you, gentlemen, is better than this year's team on paper. Championships, as we know, are not won on paper, they're won on the fields. The intangible, unexplainable elements are what control our destiny. One simple word is the chemistry that holds us together. I'll never forget Michael Grant's words after the second game. I'm not sure if Michael remembers him.
he was speaking about the senior class. I think he was talking to at least the majority of them. And he said, we will be remembered as the worst senior class because we lost twice to both Sutton and Bromfield the same year. Michael, we all forgive you. Before our first practice, I brought the players together and told them one simple rule. I will not treat you equally, but I will treat you fairly. Some players will have more responsibilities than others, and they will be expected to perform up to that. To perform up to those expectations. As the freshmen can tell you, nothing is expected from them except to put the bags in order before each game, or in today's case, to get the soda, I guess, for each day. Everything they do positively is considered a bonus. And with this unit, there were many bonuses. Paul Cummings, Jamie Stanley, and Andy Page are the most talented threesome I've ever had in one class. Most schools, they would have played a lot more, but with the talent in front of them, they simply had to wait. Like these three freshmen, there were others whose time had not quite come. But whether it be due to older, more experienced players in their positions or their skill level had not quite reached starting status. They spent more time watching on game day rather than playing. But Matt Floyd, Derek Pitts, David Grover, and Jason Brill were certainly invaluable to us. Sharp and ready to play if called upon. They pushed the first unit into being better players. And I'm sure, as Michael can testify, it's certainly not a pleasure to sit on the bench, but you need to know when to be prepared. You need to know what to do if called upon. The next group of players were those on occasion would start, but more than not, would come off the bench to help us during the games. Tommy Daigle, Joe Tatro, Dan Trevilla, Joe Sikowski. At numerous times, they came through with big plays during the season. And certainly, I would be remiss if not to mention our backup goalkeeper, Dan Smith. This role is probably the toughest to handle. He certainly wants to play, but he knows the only way is if the starter gets hurt. Still, he trained every day in case he was needed. I appreciate all your efforts, gentlemen. I know what it is like to sit on the bench and not hear the applause. For most of my high school years, I never had that much playing time. I still worked hard and respect you for all hard work this year. As I said earlier, I do not treat all players equally. Therefore, if you want to be a starter, you must produce in whatever manner I need you. As backs, Jeff LaRose, Sean McHugh, and Andy Seller at times caught a lot of my attention. I hope they'll catch yours too. At times, they caught a lot of my attention, and I'm sure they will never forget those practices when everything they did was wrong. I will certainly remember those times when everything they did was right. For example, Sean McHugh's foot, getting in the way of a threatening shot versus Holyoke Catholic, and his presence in the wall and a direct kick against Archbishop Williams. Andy's timely first goal against Holyoke Catholic, and his willingness to move out of position against Sutton due to an injury. And Jeff's flicking the ball from danger against Sutton, and his outstanding defense against the top scorers from Sutton
Archbishop Williams, and Holyoke Catholic. In support of these three was our sweeper back in exterior. I moved Nick there approximately halfway through the year. He listened to words of, as I like to say, encouragement rather well. His job was to make sure that the seams of the defense were covered and that the defenders did not get too complacent, to keep moving them up when appropriate. There were times I'm sure he would have liked to tell me words of encouragement, but he showed his poise and discipline and learned his position. Look at it this way, Nick, next year should be a lot easier. Now, if my encouragement was not enough, he also heard it from our goalkeeper, Michael Gariano. Besides Michael's great ability to react to shots, is his leadership on the field. He was constantly talking and encouraging the backs and Nick to do the right things. This in itself is really remarkable, considering 2 years ago, I could not get him to say a word. I spent many hours of practice time encouraging Michael to be more vocal. For his efforts, Michael was selected to the Dewey Valley Conference and Central Mass All-Star teams. The two starting outside midfielders and defending midfielder were Michael Tobin, Jared Campbell, and Kevin Graham. They also played roles that go unnoticed except by the coach. They very rarely score, and they do not normally mark the opponent's top forwards. Therefore, most goals, negatively or positively, do not directly come from them. But without their solid, steady performance, it is inconceivable we would have been here. It is ironic that both Jared and Kevin had to sit out the district final game due to injuries, but both returned to make major contributions in the next 2 games. And I certainly will never forget Michael's flying along the touchline to help out with marking an opponent in both the Sutton and Whitesville Christian games. And last but not least with this group, I will certainly never forget Jared's major contribution throughout the year. Jared became injured early in the season and missed many games. But in his role as one of the tri-captains, he was always there to lend support to all the players. He never sulked nor complained, and I thank him for that. The final 3 plays I called the trilogy. They were going to have to do all the majority of our scoring for us to go anywhere. They may seem like the glory positions, and they certainly had their share of glory. Jonathan Harvey, Joseph Cummings, and Michael Green. Jonathan was a Dewey Valley, Central Mass, Milford Daily News All-Star. Joseph was a Dewey Valley, Central Mass, Milford Daily News, Worcester Telegram, Division III, and Middlesex News All-Star. Michael Grant was a Dewey Valley, Central Mass, All-State, Milford. Now is the part where I remind you that I don't treat everyone equally. In order to achieve their well-deserved recognition, we had to go through many times of encouragement. I've had attackers who were more skilled, but never have I had a group where I had to tell them to shoot. If you check the scorebook, their scoring was very well balanced. I've scored 2 goals against Whitesville Christian and a game winner against Holyoke Catholic. Joseph scored the tying goal against Sutton, the insurance goal against Holyoke Catholic, and 2 goals against Archbishop Williams. And Michael scored the game-winning goals against Sutton, both Sutton and Whitesville Christian, and a goal against Archbishop Williams. They certainly provided us all with many memorable moments. this championship did not make me any more proud of them than I already was. For one afternoon in early November, before the tournament began and not on any playing field, they provided me with a memory that I, along with my family, will never forget. From the bottom of my heart, gentlemen, I thank you most of all for this past year. And to the rest of you, I would like to thank you all for not only being here, but for all season long. Thank you very much.
Ask him to squat down a little bit because so you only see the top of his head. Because that was the most important contribution that he made during the past season.
Before I started, we kind of felt that one of us wanted to have to talk about ourselves, our team, from more players' point of view, so I guess I do that. I'm not really quite sure if it's because I was a senior, or maybe because I was able to play with my brother, or because of all the other teams that I played on that were supposed to win, but didn't. For some reason, the memories of this team come back to me. From who stole the pudding at Wendy's Superbar to the turf toe off the Holy Cross. I think about it almost all the time. Sometimes I'll be driving home in the car, a certain song will come on the radio. One of the songs we used to listen to on the bus ride to each game. Just like that, I'm there again. My stomach tightens up, my hands shake. I can almost picture the team itself. Jared's in the back seat behind me, sleeping. Gary Arnold's in the other back seat, eating yogurt. Not loving where his socks are. Smitty's next to me holding the radio. In front of him is McHugh, who's in his pregame trance. Somehow lost in the music. In the middle of the bus is Brill, my brother, and Paige. Each of their headphones glued on tight because they hate to have classical choice of music. Way up in the front, Coach Lehman was portable CD player, relaxing while we all get nervous. Directly in front of me is Harvey and Cummings, and I sit there attempting to get them to envision themselves scoring goals in the upcoming game. I just told the story to keep my mind off the bathroom next week. Should we go over this story? As I drive into my driveway, I have to remind myself that it is over and that I don't have a game tonight. Other times, without even trying, I start to daydream in class. And I can almost picture almost every moment. I can hear the crowd. I can see everyone. I can see the first round of the districts. And I can see Jamie Stanley receive the ball and finally deposits the left of the keeper as we start to celebrate. The scene changes, and I can see Joe Cummings scoring a great goal against Sutton in the semifinals. We all run to celebrate with him, but she sprints by us. It's on the Sutton bench and toys with the crowd. We're going to the district finals, and I'm making my routine check with each player, asking if they are ready to play. She almost remembered when we had facing 4 teams. And I looked into their eyes, and I could see the different expressions and different faces. The freshmen either think that I'm some sort of freak or they're scared to death of me, and I refuse to leave them alone, so they convince me with their eyes that they are ready to play. Most of the sophomores were nervous, eyes twitching, voice wavering, but I knew they were ready. The juniors just wanted to leave them alone. They'll say anything to get me out of their faces. Then I'd come to the seniors, and I'd look into Tobin's with cute eyes and the intensity fire burning within, and that would get me ready to play. I can see Harvey after he scored his first goal as he runs back up the field, screaming at us. Screaming, we're not going to lose, Grant. I won't let it happen. We're just not going to lose. The whole team is pumped up, playing with confidence. I can look at the clock, see it stopped at 2 minutes. Jeff LaRose is ready to make his throw. I nod to him, let him know I'm ready. He lets it go, and we're ready to go to the state tournament. We're at the state semifinals. The fans are doing that ridiculous Julio chant. My man beats me. His head for goal. My brother's there, stone cold, making sure no one will score while he is near. Holyoke has another opportunity, but Gary Unleashed had another miraculous save. One parallel to his left, saving the game again. Cummings is screaming about how beautiful the save it was and how we won't be quiet no matter how much we tell him. We're going to the state finals. The only good my team ever. We may not be the best on paper, but we're certainly the best on the grass. Just one more win. If we can believe for just 80 more minutes, we will be state champions.
in that feeling there's only 30 seconds left. We're up 3-1, and Archbishop Williams can't do a thing about it. We are state champions. I don't think that I've ever felt so much pride in my entire life. Unless you have played a team sport, I don't think you can fully understand the way that this team felt at the end of the game. The emotions are indescribable. But abruptly it ends. Now that it's over, I miss it even more. I think about it daily. I think about my team and what we accomplished. I split our money together. I guess I'll stop here, otherwise I'll pretty much talk all day. Because I never get tired of talking about my team. To next year's team, I have one message. And to next year's seniors. I entreat you to make your mark and create memories better than mine. Win another state title. Because from now on, the road to the state title does not go through Longfield, does not go through Sutton, the road goes through Medfield. It goes right through Nipmuc. I know you live up to the challenge. First, we'd like to make a presentation, get right, and making sure we don't hurt our backs on the machine. Basically, getting our fitness level up to what our strength should be. We have this cross bend, which is engraved, it says state champs on it. It's solid. One of the little known facts about the season is that Coach did get his 100th win. And before we knew we were going to win the states or anything, we had ordered this plaque way back when I think it was against the Hamlet when he won. So we have this one. And it reads, William Winter, appreciation for your time, dedication, and support to the High Soccer. Congratulations on the 100th win. We also have a pen set for this deliver. Same thing, we're ready for the state championship. It says state champs on it, cross bench, just like this itself. We had to go back to after we realized we were state. If I can get that on the box. It's a combination block, plaque, they hang it themselves. It says, Coach Lee was Michigan State Champion in 1994. I'd like to thank Mr. Scrivener for being great for us on this. And this is from the seniors. It reads, Coach, seniors of the 1994 State Champion Soccer Team, which means that our gratitude for not only teaching us the skills and passion necessary to play soccer, but also for instilling in us the value of pride, commitment, and hard work. It is the least that is studied. Let me say thank you.
As they head back, why don't we remember that any team has to be led by the captains, and let's give them a... We have some other awards to present. One is compliments of WMRC Radio. Present to Bill. It says Nipmuc Boys Varsity Soccer State Championship Team, Division III, 1994. WMRC 1490 AM. Coaches Bill Lever, Butch Sala, and Bill McGinnis, and it has the names of all of the players engraved. We also have plaques to present to the administration of Nipmuc Regional High School, to Dr. Chris Foley, to Mr. Daigle, and also to Mr. Grant. We presented to the players and to each of the families a program booklet which was put together with some of the clippings from the regular season and then also the clippings from the state finals with the advertisers at the back. I'm going to take a moment to just a general thank you to those of you that made this work. The amount of money that was raised, the donations that were received, the time and effort that went into speaking to people about attending the banquet is certainly much appreciated. What we will be doing is we will be sending to each of the advertisers a copy of this banquet program with a thank you for their support of the banquet program. We also would like to say to those members of the families, the friends of the families, the aunts and uncles and relatives, thank you very much for their attendance. We have on the table a number of gifts for players. There is a combination of efforts. Julie referred to the Warriors Club. So much of what makes Nipmuc soccer and so much of what makes Nipmuc athletics successful is a direct result of the time and effort of the members of the Warriors Club. The banner in back of us that will appear in the gymnasium, and I've heard some of the boys say that they think that we should put it up during a Sutton basketball game. That'd be most appropriate. We have a plaque for each one of them. We have a certificate from the MIAA. They have a small replica championship ball from Rhine, company that supplied the soccer balls for the championship. We have a t-shirt that has been donated. We have the jackets, the state team jackets. We have a baseball hat that they will spend the next 10 minutes shaping into some distasteful order so they can be able to excuse it. We have a poster for them after the championship game, which they're all standing in front of the net. What we have for you boys is just a way for us to say thank you, because we were along for the ride. Success is believing in all you can be, in all that you dream and you dare. Taking time to help others find their dreams as well, being ready to give and to share. Success is enjoying the pathways you've chosen and feeling so glad to be you, helping others to feel self-fulfillment and joy and real pride in whatever they do. Success is discovering new ways to reach higher and reach out to those all around. For only through caring and helping and giving can life's true successes be found. Thank you very much.
I think all this like